Welcome to this explainer. Close your eyes for a sec and picture the Louvre Museum in Paris, right? It's a literal fortress of art and history, widely considered one of the absolute most secure structures on the planet. But on the morning of October 19th, 2025, that whole illusion of impenetrable security was completely shattered in broad daylight. Today, we're breaking down a meticulously planned robbery that sounds like it was ripped straight out of a Hollywood heist movie, but it was entirely, terrifyingly real. Just 8 minutes. That is literally all it took to execute one of the most audacious daylight robberies in modern history. These thieves bypassed advanced security systems and vanished with absolutely priceless artifacts before anyone even fully realized what the heck was happening. It's a staggering testament to speed and precision. Okay, let's dive into this because the sheer speed of this timeline is mind-boggling. At 8:30 a.m., the museum opens its doors to tourists from around the world. Completely business as usual, right? Well, exactly 30 minutes later at 9 a.m., a truck equipped with a mechanical furniture lift pulls right up to the side of the museum facing the River Seine. By 9:02 a.m., the thieves have already cut through thick security glass and actually entered the building. And by 9:08 a.m., they're already escaping on scooters. An absolute lightning strike. So, how do you actually breach a fortress? Well, the operation was incredibly calculated. A group of 4 thieves arrived disguised as a crew in yellow and orange construction vests, their faces completely hidden by balaclavas. Without any hesitation, they extended that mechanical lift straight up to a first-floor balcony. Now, you gotta understand, this wasn't just any balcony. This was the direct access point to the Apollo Gallery, home to France's royal treasures. Confronted by incredibly thick security glass, they didn't panic. They simply pulled out an industrial-grade disc cutter and sliced a hole right through it in seconds. Which brings us to another wild number, 4. Out of that entire 8-minute operation, the thieves only spent 4 minutes actually inside the museum. When that glass broke, alarms instantly blared and security guards spotted them. But the thieves, they didn't flinch. They aggressively threatened the guards with their whirring power tools. As panicked tourists were frantically evacuated by staff amidst total chaos, 2 of the thieves methodically smashed the display cases to grab the loot. And here's what they were actually after. We aren't just talking about pretty pieces of jewelry. These are breathtaking 19th century royal artifacts holding thousands of diamonds, emeralds, and sapphires. They successfully made off with Empress Eugenie's tiara and brooch, Empress Marie Louise's emerald necklace and earrings, a stunning sapphire set belonging to Queen Marie Amélie and Queen Hortense, and a highly unique reliquary brooch. 8 magnificent historical pieces, just gone in the blink of an eye. Actually, scratch that, the original count was 9. During their frantic escape back out through that small hole they cut in the glass, the thieves hit a major snag. The hole was just a bit too small for their final prize, Empress Eugenie's 1855 crown. In their desperate rush to force it through, they severely scratched the 170-year-old artifact and ultimately dropped it right on the road as they fled. It was recovered, damaged for sure, but saving at least one irreplaceable piece of history. Now, what's really interesting about this contrast is what they took versus what they deliberately ignored. Yes, they stole incredible 19th century pieces, but they completely bypassed the most famously expensive items in that very same room. They didn't even touch the world-renowned Regent diamond, which is valued all on its own at a staggering $60 million. They also totally ignored the legendary Sancy and Hortensia diamonds. So what does this all mean? It immediately begs this central mystery of this entire case. Was this a targeted, stolen-to-order hit? I mean, you don't just ignore a $60 million diamond sitting right in front of your face unless you are working off a highly specific, pre-ordered shopping list. This strongly suggests they weren't just grabbing what was most valuable. They were grabbing exactly what they were paid to steal. But even without those famous diamonds, the estimated material value of the gold and precious stones they did manage to steal is absolutely staggering. $102 million. That's just the raw base value of the materials fused into those 8 artifacts alone. So the crucial point here is that while the material is worth $102 million, these artifacts are entirely priceless. It's captured perfectly by a statement from the Paris prosecutor's office. To paraphrase, the money doesn't matter. You could say $1 billion and it wouldn't change a thing. These artifacts represent the royal history and cultural heritage of France. Once they are melted down or pried apart by thieves, they are gone forever. Let's move forward and see how this builds, because these catastrophic security failures created an absolute nightmare for the museum's administration. Seriously, how does a fortress get robbed so easily? investigations ruthlessly exposed some baffling blind spots. In the area of the theft, 1 out of every 3 rooms had literally no CCTV coverage whatsoever. The external cameras couldn't even fully see the balcony. And the most shocking detail, which was revealed to the BBC by a member of the French Senate, the localized alarm system on that specific balcony had broken down just days prior to the heist. No way, right? As you can imagine, the fallout was immediate and deeply humiliating. Facing the reality of these gaping security holes operating right under their noses, the museum director immediately attempted to submit a resignation to the Ministry of Culture. Interestingly enough, the ministry refused to accept it. They likely recognized that these systemic failures went way deeper than just one single individual at the top. If we look back, this supposedly impenetrable fortress actually has quite a leaky history. In 1911, the Mona Lisa was famously stolen by a former employee. In 1976, thieves broke a window to steal King Charles X's sword, which, by the way, has never been found. In 1998, a painting was taken right out of its frame in broad daylight. This 2025 Apollo Gallery heist is just the latest, albeit highly organized, echo of historical breaches at the Louvre.
But this time around, the thieves made a critical error, and it's all thanks to the sheer courage of a museum employee. As the 2 thieves scrambled down from the balcony, their 2 accomplices were waiting on scooters to flee down the A6 motorway. Before escaping, they attempted to set their getaway truck on fire to completely destroy all the evidence. But a brave staff member intervened and successfully stopped them from torching the vehicle.
And this brilliantly illustrates how that single act of bravery became the turning point in the whole investigation. Because the truck didn't burn, the massive team of up to 100 investigators hit an absolute goldmine. They recovered helmets, gloves, and were able to completely process the interior of the truck, yielding a treasure trove of around 150 separate DNA and fingerprint samples. That mountain of evidence paid off rapidly. Just days later, on Saturday, October 25th, police announced a major breakthrough. Through DNA matching and criminal record checks, they arrested 2 suspects who were deeply linked to the robbery. Crucially, one of these suspects already had a known criminal history specifically involving gold theft. The police are highly confident they are closing in on this highly professional, organized ring. Yet, as the Apollo Gallery remains firmly close to the public, a heavy silence hangs over Paris. The suspects are in custody, sure, but the location of those 19th century treasures has not been revealed, which leaves us with this lingering, provocative thought. Will the mastermind behind this incredible 8-minute breach ever be fully brought to justice, or have the royal jewels of France vanished into the criminal underworld forever? Let that sink in, and thank you for joining this explainer.